Hello everyone and welcome to, I think it is the 57th Unbox coffee break. Tonight, a lot of you wanted me to speak in English. I'm just gonna pin a comment. And welcome new followers. And I think I will speak in English. I think last week I spoke in Arabic. So to be fair, as I said earlier, in August, I will only do one coffee break. I'm busy reorganizing my life, decluttering and working on new things for you to unbox online at your own convenience. I have been sharing what I've been going through in these coffee breaks since the beginning of homestay and lockdown. And something wonderful happened yesterday when a friend came to visit. And he just dropped a comment, very kind of casually saying, well, you're still doing that thing. You haven't solved that issue. And I said, yeah, you're right. And he said, there must be a reason. And I have been looking at the reason for like 30 years. I am aware that I need to unbox that. I made a list of things that I wanted to unbox during homestay. 5 main things. I got 3 done. So, hey, kudos to me, not bad. But this thing has been eluding me for about 30 years. And when he said that, I think about things. And sometimes when they just creep in, when people don't mean to lecture you, that's when it works with me. And I stayed up thinking about it, mulling it over, not really analyzing it, because analysis doesn't get you anywhere. It doesn't change anything. But really contemplating, why did that come up? Obviously because it has been something on my mind, and obviously because it is something that in my mind, I had intended to unbox. So, people mirror who you are, and I find if you see people in that way, then they're really serving you, helping you. I wasn't hurt by the comment or anything. On the contrary, it was like he held the mirror up and reminded me to kind of look into that. So I've put a post up, a new poem. A post, I think, first, and then a new poem, and it was about the scream. And one of the followers, you should really read the interaction if you speak Arabic. Most of it is in Arabic, which is great. But English-speaking people, you can interact too. I would love to hear from you. And the reason that I do that is, I think, very simply to put across this idea that no matter how much you know and how much you learn, and how much you have been working on your own self-growth, there are yet things to be unboxed, things to be dealt with. It's an ongoing process until the day we die. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming and watching Unbox Coffee Break. And it's really a great thing. For me, it's not a burden. It's very, very exciting. It gives me the impetus, the incentive to kind of, when I get up in the morning, to see what it is that I need to do. I love challenges. I love solving riddles. I love being a detective of my own inner world, and that gives me strength rather than makes me feel vulnerable. And this is another point. When you face the person in the mirror, when you're honest with yourself, when you face whatever is scaring you, you actually get strength from that, and your resolve increases. So there's nothing frightening about unboxing, except maybe the way we respond to it. And this is why I chose today not to kind of do any extra effort with makeup or hair or anything, because it just amazed me, the fact that I've unboxed that and I got to the bottom of why could I not resolve what I wanted to resolve earlier. I faced it, I saw it with my own eyes. It's like a memory popped up, and I was like, wow, where was that hidden? And that showed me how creative and clever I was, that I've really hid well the reason or the issue that I needed to unbox, which has caused me a lot of pain, a lot of, struggle, frustration more than pain, of trying to resolve something and not getting very far with it. But at least I now know why. And I felt such relief because it was less scary than I thought it was or would be. And I just wanted you to see that relief, that release on my face. It really, we carry everything here. We carry everything in our faces, in our muscles, in our body. And it kind of confirmed to me my theory of unboxing and the unbox pyramid and the 4 dimensions of change. Because I put at the very bottom, let me see if I can find that picture. Hold on, guys. I want to put the pyramid back to emphasize the point that you start with your body. If your body is aching, hurting, slow, blocked somewhere or another, or you're trying to do something physical, like going to the gym, losing weight, whatever it is, stopping an addiction or another, this is all physical. This is all to do with the first dimension of change. And the answer will be there. So it's no good analyzing and getting frustrated and, what's the word I'm looking for? Beating yourself up on the back. Just kind of contemplate the body, what is going through it, what is unboxed in it. So how do you know that you're unboxed? Which is kind of roughly what tonight is about. You know when you're trying to resolve something or reach a goal, but every time you make a step forward, as if something pulls you back. The more effort you put in, the more resistance you are met with. So that means your system, the 4 dimensions of change, something is out of alignment and the energy is not flowing well. The electricity of the intention, however you want to see it, is not flowing in an easy, direct way. It's kind of gets stuck and then you suffer. And this is when you know that you need to resolve or unbox something. I say unbox because what we hide in our inner world is, like layers of an onion. You need to peel one after the other in order to get to the very bottom, to the very core. So back to my issue. So I've been looking at it, contemplating it for the last 30 years, trying different things to sort it out emotionally, physically, mentally, whatever it is. But I couldn't get to the root cause of it until, my friend just dropped that comment. I mean, it's not like, it hasn't been dropped before. But my point is when you keep at it and you keep digging consistently and regularly, and then someone says something or you read something or you watch something, it kind of that thin layer at the very end, you're nearly there. That layer, the layers get less dense and they get more delicate. And then they break open and then you get your epiphany or you get your realization or you begin to understand, why haven't I been able to resolve this? So I could not have done it at any other time in life. This time, last night was the perfect time. And this is the unbox way. Once you learn how to look for, monitor, observe, nurture the 4 dimensions of change, you will begin to have a feeling of where the block lies or what is out of alignment. So if you think of that illustration as a deck of cards, and one card, if you take one layer off or one card is not placed in the right way, the whole pyramid will not hold up, it will crumble. And when we crumble, when the pyramid crumbles, my unbox pyramid crumbles, this is when we feel stuck or we feel low or we start self-loathing or we start overanalyzing or we start losing sleep. These are the kind of symptoms that basically, I am not getting to where I want to go with ease. Hey, Gitano, long time. With ease and flow. So it really pays to observe yourself, to work on yourself. The second important point is sometimes what people say is really not meant to hurt. We all have a dynamic relationship with each other. We mirror each other. We project on each other. We live in a holographic universe. We kind of reflect back what is good about us, what is bad about us, or what is stuck about us to each other when we interact with each other. This is how I've taught myself to see other people, what they do and what they say. As my teacher, my mentor used to say, if what they say is true, then they have served you, so work on it. If what they say is not true, then ignore it and don't spend or don't invest, nurturing that thought or contemplating it. So when someone has done you a service by holding the mirror up, when you think someone has hurt you by holding the mirror up, they haven't. I meant to say they have really done you a service and you just want to hug them because they've helped you unbox something and release all this frustration that you're holding within yourself, within your body. And maybe that original issue that you're trying to resolve has got nothing to do with this new goal or new business that you want to set up, but it really does, because all you need is one very thin string that holds you back, like an elastic thing. That the more you want to go further in life, the more that this string holds you back, and you struggle and you keep the tension and you don't know what's going on. So not to be afraid to unbox, not to be afraid to observe yourself, watch yourself, not to be afraid to kind of express who you are, even if you're in a bad mood or even if you're struggling with something. Just keep it in the forefront. It doesn't need to become a huge problem, but you do need to become aware of it. Because if you're not aware of what you're trying to resolve, how can you recognize the answer when it hits you in the face? So I've carried this issue and I've been contemplating it for 30 years, aware that I need to get over it, that I need to resolve it. But it wasn't until all the work has started in the last 4 months that I've been peeling layer after layer that I really got close to the end. Like, what is it? What is the trigger? What is it that, forces me or triggers me? Nobody forces you, but it triggered me to keep doing the same thing. And it just happened because I was ready for it, and I really, really appreciate it. And today I felt such a release. And nothing makes me feel happier than to see a client experience that, unbox something that they have been carrying for years and years. If you haven't seen the reviews, look at them on Google or Facebook. They've been very kind, and I'm very appreciative of them giving me a feedback of their discovery session. And speaking of the discovery sessions, as you might know if you follow me, this has been running for a while, that I'm offering a 40-minute one-to-one session with me. If you fail the online assessment, then you get the hour. Well, we almost always stay an hour because people love it and they can see it working. And then you can decide whether you want to continue or not. So this afternoon, I was really intrigued. I looked at these, nearly 60 forms that I've received in the last 2 weeks since I'm running the campaign. Thank you. I looked at all these forms to see what is the common problem, or what is the common issue, or what is it that people are struggling to unbox, nowadays in COVID and homestay, particularly that it started coming back. You would think that it is to do with this strange year that we're having. But really, most of the issues are very old issues. It's nothing to do with the uncertain times. It is nothing to do with, for example, having been forced to sit at home or lose their jobs. It's an issue that they've been struggling with ever since they can remember. So we can go through life, and you can go, with the burden of carrying heavy baggage, which means you have a lot of emotional weight. And when you have a lot of emotional weight, you tend to wait a lot longer for things to happen, because the world doesn't work with you. Every time something wants to bounce back and forward, it's met with this wall and it can't get through you because you're holding on to something and you don't know what it is. So does that get the point across? And when you do, and when it's resolved, like seriously, the weight drops off your face. And you're very fortunate if you look 10 years younger, because this is what pain does. And most of the time, it is not a huge issue. It is something very small that has happened a long time ago. You didn't know how to make it fit in the right place as an experience because you lacked the maturity, the wisdom of understanding what you're going through. And then you go through life beating yourself up. Why couldn't I do a lot better for myself? Why couldn't I stand for myself? Why couldn't I say something when that happened? Well, you couldn't have, because you didn't have the tools. You were not prepared. You were not mature enough. There's always a reason. And since I adopted the view that everything happens at the right time, at the right place, for the right reasons, however frustrating it is, believe me, then you kind of look back and you're able to laugh. And sometimes I'm able to kind of say, or between me and myself, like, thank God that did not happen. It would have been really awkward or really funny or absolutely the wrong thing. So life is not against us. I think I always say, I think that for me, the pulse of life is to grow, to continue. When I look at plants and trees, you know, in spite of gravity, they always aim up high to the light, and against gravity, they continue to grow. There is something that's propelling us to grow, to express ourselves, to find our place in life. And how can you do that if you don't know what your talents, abilities, and hobbies are? Because this is where you express yourself on a completely blank canvas, and it's for you to see what is coming out of you. And in this way, you don't need the outside world to define your identity, who you are, or how should you behave. But even when society or family does that, when it places these constraints upon us, I think that is also fortunate, because it forces you to look at your life in a certain way. It forces you to contemplate and face issues that otherwise it may have been a lot easier to run away from. Thank you guys for joining. Really, really great to see you all. Hey Alex, we're having natural sauna here in Dubai. I've just realized that I'm dripping on my old t-shirt, although I'm sitting under the AC. I miss you. Enjoy yourself. My social media coach, I miss you. Back to Unbox coffee break. So the release, the process should be an enjoyable one. It's all about discovering who you are. How can you come out of this box that you think you were placed in? And you did so well because you're so intelligent. You've even put a label on it. You know what your issue is. You know what your problems are. And you make them so huge and elaborate that no one can help you. And how could they know you better than you know yourself? Well, believe me, they can. They can, if they have gone through the same thing, if they have been consistently working on themselves and consistently honest with themselves, then they can see your patterns. And this is what you want the sauna, Yumna? And that is what I do as a mentor, as an Unbox mentor, which is different from a life coach. Watch the last episode. It's someone who's been through what you have been and can kind of hold the light and see you through, which is what I do in the Unbox sessions. I don't know you. I don't know you at all. I can't judge you, but I can discern your patterns from your assessment, and I have a sense and a feeling, I want to say even a tangible way, of where the problem is. And sometimes when I face a client with that, they don't like it because it really pokes them in their discomfort zone. And that tells me that they have been carrying a wound, like I have been carrying mine, that is not completely disinfected. And when you poke through it, they hurt. And when they hurt, they begin to say things like, you made me feel bad, you didn't make me feel good about myself. That is not what I do. All I do is I hold the mirror and I show you your patterns and where you have gone astray, if you will, or where you have failed to resolve something because something was out of alignment or something was missing. So I hope, I intend to make a shift in the way that you perceive life, after which you can begin to see a little bit more clearly. And once you learn all these, once you learn all these things, you carry on, you use the same principles, you'll be able to look at self, you'll be able to notice what is unboxed about you, what you're struggling with. And for me, I've realized, especially after you've crossed 50 or 55, but I'm not admitting to anymore, you have to look after yourself in a certain way. I certainly want to grow old and gracefully and to be healthy. And I've put down a few goals at the beginning of this year that I wanted to really unbox, sort out my diet, lose the fat, nothing to do with weight or looks, but because it is really unhealthy. And it began to happen. And I really dislike going to gyms. I don't know why. I think it's from the days of being in London and going to gyms and like they really smelled and I couldn't do what I wanted to do. Anyway, that's a different story. Let's go back to your goals, what you need to unbox. And I began to see a difference. I'm working with a coach, Wellness by Dima, an amazing coach in Dubai. And by the way, there are fantastic coaching talents in Dubai. And I've met some of these people. I've met them on Instagram, which is amazing, during lockdown. I've sorted out the diet, the fat began to come down. I've been following it with blood tests and ultrasounds and things like that. But really what it boils down to is I got results very quickly. Some parts, I want to say some parts of my body have changed shape, but they really have. And some parts have not. They've been really, really stubborn. And last night I looked at it and I thought, it was like here, this area, and it was like a life-saving, ring. And I thought, what is it that I'm saving myself from? What is it that I'm hiding? And this is really your self-will center. This is where your oomph comes from, and I'm really hiding it. And it all made sense. It was like click, 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 these flipper machines, and I got my realization. And I wrote that post in the hope that you will all resonate with and feel that you're not going through what you're going through alone, and that there is someone who can understand and help, not to hold your hand, to do perhaps a greater service of holding the mirror up and letting you see what you need to unbox and which way you need to go. So give me your feedback. Take the assessment if you haven't. Don't suffer in silence on your own, because as I said, most of the time it's a very small issue that you have tucked away in the unconscious. You don't know that you've been carrying this, but you've been suffering because certain parts of your body are not moving the way that you want them to move. Look at that, consider it, contemplate it, don't analyze. And that's the difference between thinking and contemplating. So try and go out of the box really, and just keep asking yourself, what is it showing me? Do you know that it's so easy to tap into the unconscious? All you need to do is ask it very gently, very firmly, can you help me sort this out? I've learned this from a fellow colleague. I was mesmerized how easy it is. So you don't even need to do hypnosis. You can just ask yourself, what is it that I need to know, or can you help me go back to the point when whatever the issue is, I started feeling that way or thinking that way or behaving that way. And let it go, and don't expect anything. Let the expectation go, don't look for answers. Go on about your day, believe me. The less you emotionally engage with it, the better. And if you keep going about your day, you will get the answer. Somebody will say something, and then suddenly it all fits, and woo, you got your realization. That's all I want to say for tonight. I hope you're having an amazing week. I'm looking forward to this weekend. Actually, I'm feeling really good. I've been telling everybody that fall is here, although it's like terribly hot now, because the skies have changed and the sunset colors have changed. And I don't know if you noticed that, but I do, because I observe. I love to observe nature and see how things change. But also because we're coming up to the Islamic New Year, which is a lunar year, which coincides with the new moon. So the new moon has all sorts of significance, and it just suddenly kind of hit me, why do we only celebrate solar years? Why not lunar years? It's a lot closer to us, and it really controls our emotions and how we behave, because the moon has an influence on fluids, on the sea, on the fish, and we are 95% fluids. So for anyone who thinks this is all hogwash, it really isn't. If you become observant enough, you will begin to realize it. So going back to the new year, I hope you have a fantastic new lunar year, and I hope it will trigger all sorts of new beginnings, emotional releases, a deeper understanding and wisdom of the things and the experiences that you have gone through. And I'm so excited and distracted because I'm watching Janan's studio customizing my handbag. She's been really encouraging me to do this, and I can't wait. If you haven't seen the stories, see them. An amazing artist, and what we've done is we tried to see what is it that expresses me that she can customize the bag with, and I've got it. And what she got is this heart with these wings, and that is a lovely symbol for me, and I'm definitely opening up my heart. As Rumi says, your heart will keep hurting until you learn to keep it open. So keep an open mind, keep an open heart, and embrace life. Happy Lunar New Year. Take care, and I'll see you next week.